My name is Queen Mother Kathleen Harmon. I am 91 years old, still on the battlefield, fighting for the injustice and the freedom for our people. I'm also CEO of Peace Coalition. Today is the National Day of Racial Healing. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Queen Mother Nina and Prophet Cox for allowing me this great opportunity. As today we should be focusing on the healing. How can we and what can we do to make change? I'm really wanting healing. I'm really wanting healing. What can we do to heal? And I ask you today, won't you see and do whatever you can to be a partaker of national healing? This really identifies with the African American culture for the simple reason that we were part of that era when our grandparents were in slavery. I was born in 1931 during the Depression and Second Civil War. And then when I look today, we're going back. I'm making comments on these issues because it's showing that we're reliving the same as we did 20, 40, 50, 60 years ago. What have we really accomplished? This is why we really need national healing. This is why we really, really need to come together and focus and educate. I think education is a key component. None of our children know anything about the enslaved of my grandparents and our grandparents and their foreparents. Our schools were discriminated. The blacks could not go to school with the whites. We had our own school. We had to walk miles and miles and miles in the cold, the snow. Our hands were frozen. We still can't go to any college that we want to go. There's still racial overtone. We were robbed of the voting right. Why don't they know? Why isn't it in the history book? Talk about change. We must come together. In 2023, thank Prophet Cox and thank Queen Mother for opening the door that at least we can have discussion, educate, and help our children to understand. My question today is, what do we do to make change? When we have the opportunity to elect our officers, legislators, and all of our city council, etc., we need to be a part of that. We must come together. We must unite. We must educate, mobilize, and most of all, be sure that we have the right to vote. Be sure that we are partakers and not just sit back. We must be vocal. We must move. There is so much money in the United States of America, and every other race is always given, but our race is far left behind. We have no funding, and we must stand up and be accountable. We must fight for our justice, and there is no justice. There is still racial overtone all over this country, and we must change that. Just last week, I had the opportunity to listen to the report from Queen Mother Blakely, who attended the conference in Geneva, and find out all of the changes that was made. And that's what I'm saying. We are not educated. We are not unified. We don't know on one side of the country we're doing one thing. We've got to come to unity and We are moving forward. My councilwoman sits on the appropriation committee, which is very strongly here in California and have been passed by our governor. And on the 28th and the 29th, I will be attending the conference. And we are moving to make sure, come up with a number that we should be requesting. Just don't ask for appropriation and money. We need to put a price on it, and we need to demand, as Queen Mother say, cut the check now. We got to unify, come together. We are separate and divided, and that's the reason we are left out and out of the equation. We're not fighting for the injustice. We need to work with our assemblies and change the legislation, change the law. See that our children do not do 25 and 30 years, and see that the courts do not send our kids off plea bargain and selling themselves. Yeah. We need to change the legislation. And that's what I'm working on. I'm working with our council people, I'm working with our assembly. And I want to say, I am so proud of my assemblywoman, Akila Weber, Dr. Akila Weber, who has done an outstanding job in making sure that the laws are being changed. Just this past year, January, her bill was passed that the police can no longer, they have to make sure that whatever they charge the children with, that they have proof to do that. But I do know that my heart is really, really hurting and is saddened. And that's why I am the advocate. And that's why I work so hard to make sure that our children are covered and justice is done. Thank you so much for the opportunity that I, at 91 years of age, had the opportunity to share with you today on the National Day of Healing.